Hello everyone and welcome to WFM Community with Lingel. I'm really privileged, I'm really happy to be here today for the first time, and I assure and I promise it is not the last time, and I feel so again privileged and honored in having nice panelists with us, Mr. Amit, Mr. Rajeev, Mr. Videsh. Amazing. May apart of Amit, the other two gentlemen are not known to you as of now. But once our, I don't want to call it debate, I want to say our knowledge sharing, ideas. Today we are coming with solutions and we are coming with, I'm sorry to say, instructions for you. We are coming with instructions for you that from tomorrow you are going to see the business, your business, our business with complete different eyes. Don't let me speak so much. Let's start with Amit. Kindly introduce yourself for a few moments.
First of all, Mario, thank you. This is my first event live in the last 10 months. So I'm kind of a little bit still in awe, shock, but I'm enjoying this experience today. So thank you very much for that. I think, as we all know, Mario is a very keen enthusiast, just like myself, to make sure that everything sounds always positive. My name is Amit Malhotra. I lead McCoy Group and few businesses within the group, and also the WFM Media and Community. And today, I think the subject is on to Mario. Got more than 20 plus years of experience in building businesses. We have 300 people across board, and I don't want to bore you with other stuff, but that's for the moment. Rajeev?
Well, I think, thank you, Amit. I'm Rajeev. I think I've been there in the corporate industry for almost about 35 years. What has happened is that I've been on the HR space, and of course, but I have not done too much of HR because it's business all around, and that's what matters. So even if you have to do HR, you have to do it business-centric HR. So every HR suggestion of yours must actually have an ROI. And that is what I believe, that, you know, business will have HR only which is relevant to its, you know, either bottom line or the top line.
Yiddish, please.
All right, so thank you very much, Rajeev. Okay, hi everyone. My name is Videsh. Okay, Videsh Naidu. And it's been around 25 years since I've been in work, in the workspace. Okay, spent a lot of time in the area of sales, spent around 10 years in training. And it's been around 7 years that I've been working in the space of learning and development, change management, and as an executive coach. Yeah, so what I'm going to do today is just share my experiences with you, okay, as to what is the journey that I have traversed in the past 10 months, okay, and what is it that we can look forward to, okay. So that's where I am.
Thank you so much. Amit.
1,000 odd manufacturers of windows and doors. Every day a new one coming up. No quality, no standard, just sales. No implication of what the future has in hold. Then, full stop. Corona. Everybody shuts down. Then you apply, as Rajeev mentioned, business principles. Who can sustain a business? Who has built a business? Who has a person who has built a business who have at least 5 to 10 years of having to build business with profitability, which I think is the core. And I don't want to cede any examples of the startups of the world today. So you build a business, you make it sustainable. You make it sustainable by being profitable. There is no money coming from, except a few in our country where God knows. But having said that, so that's what happened. So the 1,000 odd manufacturers, 800 went into panic. I do remember, and Mario, you were a part of the UDMA association that we are together in for so many years, that we did some wonderful webinars. So I think if I draw this current situation of Corona into, let's say, 3 phases. Phase 1 was March ending, April, May, June, hoping that July would be in sight for something to change. So by June, everybody was still excited. They wanted to learn. So I do remember doing 35 webinars with WFM Media, trying to keep people entertained. There was no other subject because there was no work. It was just entertainment. It went well. We had 800,000 people attending. It was interesting. In June 28, I decided no more. This is getting too much to handle. Right. Work started in July. Some businesses started, some businesses didn't start. And then July, August and September was still wait and watch. Everybody said we are at 50%, we are at 30%. But the net of the result is that people who sustained a business were the ones who had profitability, had some money in the bank to pay salaries, to pay overheads and costs. And that is not applicable only to the door and window industry. I'm exposed to automotive, pharmaceutical, software, you name it. We as a group, we are exposed to almost every industry. And then started the phase 3, which is the optimist phase. That what can you grab? What can you capture? And in the phase 3, which is currently going on, let's say we call it quarter 3 or quarter 4, whatever, is where the phase of actually really looking out at the open pastures available to everybody. If you're a regional company, then you look at what is available in your region. If you're a national company, then you look at a different aspect. If you're a multinational, you look at I don't want to go by speculation. I run 5 businesses. And all the 5 businesses are back to where they were, probably a little bit better pre-COVID times, maybe because of surge of demand. I can tell you that the chemical raw material prices are up 25% coming December, January.
Minimum. And this for almost all the products, starting from PVC resin, steel,
just to
silicon.
add, this is fabricated. I can say to all my multinational friends, bullshit. This is crap. They're doing it all just because of trying to pent up demand. Okay, but this is the game. Business is like that. Right? But having said that, if there is no demand, how can the price go up? And what's that factor? I'm not being optimist here. If I will pay higher price, Mario, you will pay higher price for the product that you buy, for example, right?
I need to pay, but my consumer may not pay. This is where the challenge of today. But Amit, overall, to summarize your opinion, we are back on track. I hope 90% or 85% of the audience, you will agree that we are back on track with all the challenges and the unpredicted future where we are actually really going to go in, at least in the next couple of months. Rajeev, to you, please.
See, actually, I have a difference of opinion here. I'm not saying that, pessimistic or optimistic, but the point is I'm being very realistic about it. The insights that we have gained, we shouldn't lose, because when we say that we are back on track, it means as if we were on track some time back. The point was we were derailed even then. We didn't realize, because as I said, Corona didn't create this problem. It exposed a system that was already in a problem. But what is important is that something basic had changed way back in 2008 when the financial disruption took place. And the point is that this technological disruption that I talked about is not in itself alone, because it brings with it market turbulence that has come to stay. What is this technological disruption? It is not just about esoteric technologies doing something there which only Facebook and Yahoo and YouTubes and Apples and Googles have to bother about. Remember, in this 4th industrial revolution, when we talk about convergence, the brick and mortar industry is getting impacted by what is called IoT. And IoT is Internet of Things which connects. It makes different machines talk to each other. And the whole idea is that technology will make your processes efficient. And by efficient means the frictions will go away and the costs will come down. So the point is that a very interesting development is taking place because of this. The fact is that as earlier in history, every time technology replaced human effort, it brought in more efficiency. And so this kind of efficiency will continue to be the driving factor for all businesses, as Amit, you rightly said, that businesses have to be profitable. So profits will accrue when your marginal cost comes down.
True.
And this technology, this godlike technology, has the capacity of bringing down cost in certain sectors to near zero. So when the zero marginal cost situation comes up, and that's the peak of epitome of what you call efficiency, what you do, you come out of the market, or you stay in the market, or you jump over the market, we'll have to realize, because we haven't seen such a thing happening ever in 5,000 years of human history. So the point is that when we say that we are on track, we have to see how did we cope with 2007 and the period between pre-COVID times, the entire span of about 10 to 12 years, or maybe 15 years, in fact, to be precise, probably has to be. And I don't see it coming. People just talk, okay, we are back on track and we'll continue with what we used to do.
Yes, 100%.
So that is important.
100%.
Right.
Videsh, during the pandemic, now stepping out, technology, but for me, my mindset, how do I don't go crazy? How do I balance myself? And how do I judge myself? Because important, I should judge myself. Right. Everyone was in the opinion after pandemic, everything becomes so easy and so nice. Less people have actually really discovered or were aware that now we have to work harder. We have to be more focused, because for the moment, less consumers. And as we talk about profitability, I have to move on for the next couple of months. How? Videsh, what to do in my mind to keep myself focused and online?
So, Mario, I'd like to share with all of you that I represent a boutique firm. Okay. And when I say a boutique firm, we are talking about we have lesser clients and we add value to them. Okay. When the pandemic began, so I'm going to share a little bit about my journey and from where, from March onwards, we were doing well. Yeah. The pandemic came in. So businesses started actually focusing on other elements because the new normal was setting in. They didn't know what, it was a VUCA world, both for our boutique firm as well as for organizations. So they were also in a flux as to what needs to be done. They were trying to fix things. Okay. So the first thing that we went through, or I went through that phase, was of hope. Okay. Hope against hope, we will do well. Hope against hope, this is just a phase. Yeah. Month 1 went by. Month 2 went by. Yeah. Month 3, the jitters started coming in because clients weren't giving us business. It was and it was natural because they were focusing on something which was completely unheard of, and we were moving into a new era. Yeah. At that point of time, fear set in, because we were actually depleting on our corpuses, we were depleting our funds, and there was no source of income that we could actually foresee was going to be generated or was coming in. Yeah. And the first thing that I had to actually realign was my mindset. Yeah. I couldn't afford to be having a mindset stating that, one day business will come in. And nor could I afford to have this mindset stating that nothing is going to happen. Yeah. So a growth mindset and an experimental mindset was required. Okay. And this requires a lot of self-talk, because the mindset is all about having a self-talk, a positive self-talk with yourself, stating that things are going to be fine, but you need to find out how. Okay. And focus on this question of asking, how are you going to do what you're going to do? Instead of asking or telling yourself why things are not going to happen. Yeah. Where am I coming from is I had to actually tell myself a lot of things. Okay. Don't worry, things are going to be fine. Point number 2, you will have to find out new ways of networking. Yeah. You will have to use technology, which means that I wasn't alone. Every company, the big players were also all of us had the same field to play with, and specifically focusing where we're talking about, the stage had come where we had to dig in every day and drink water from the same well. Yeah. So it's all about prospecting and experimenting, have an experimentative mindset, stating that, okay, learn from what you are going through, move ahead. Learn from what you're going through, move ahead.
Coming to learning,
That's where
Amit, technology. I think our industry does not really well in terms of adoption of new technologies. You can maybe explain a little bit about WFM Media and WFM Community. And then Mr. Rajeev, who drives finally the driverless car when the industry itself has not defined the driverless car? Amit, starting from you and then giving to Rajeev.
I was trying to actually, thank you Mario, I was trying to put this word together by calling it digestial revolution. And I think I've got it right, more or less.
I think it's absolutely fine.
Yeah, so I will coin the patent for it. So I'm just going to make sure that I record it. Digestial revolution. But having said that, I think I'll give you an example. I would take half a minute, maybe a minute to give an example. We've been building a business called McCoy Mart, putting the building industry together. Now this is an e-commerce business and it's a SaaS enabled business. So there is more services, content reading and blah, blah, blah. So I'm going back prior to COVID. I'm going back August, September, October of last year. And I went to a couple of very big companies in this country who have been very successful over the last decades, very profitable, hugely profitable. Money is absolutely of no relevance, very smart in their marketing and everything is great. And then we start to discuss about e-commerce and says, are you crazy? Who's going to buy? I'm not going to name anyone. Who's going to buy this online? Who's going to buy this online? Okay, great. So I personally went and met at least 20 founders of very large businesses in this country, and 16 of them said, you're wasting your time. And I'm giving a live example of this digestial revolution. Okay, so 4 of them who are friends and said, okay, if tu bol raha hai karke, so we're going to give it a shot. So okay, why don't you start with our products? So November 2019, we start with our platform, and then we start having some 400,000-500,000 products. And then November, December, January, because it's a software business, you have to develop it. There's 50 people in the team now, built the business. and started setting sales. So a couple of the big brands said, if you even sell one of this piece of mine, I'll change my name. He hasn't still changed his name. So coming back to our industry, I think the leaders in our industry like yourselves and Fenesta and a couple of other people are doing the right things in trying to educate customers what is right, what is wrong. And some people will be leading it and the rest will be following it. The only question is the leader has to do the right job for the followers to actually follow.
Correct.
That's all. I think it's simple. That's my point.
No, I think...
Rajeev, coming to the driver of the driverless car. Okay, please. We heard we have to put maybe some add-on business. We have to see if one revenue is not enough. What is the additional revenue, what I can add on, which will go in another round. But for the moment, the driver of the driverless cars, Rajeev, please.
Yeah, see, let me explain what Mario said, driver of the driverless car. Now, it may sound actually very funny that how can you drive a driverless car that doesn't require a driver? The point is that we have long been used to driving by controlling. The point is that what Amit said, that now the mindset has to change. So digitization is not about automation, it's about a mindset change. And the mindset from the old, first and the second industrial revolution mindset, where it was centralized, top-down, control, instructions being given, to a more democratized, more laterally dispersed and distributed, and less of control, more of facilitation. Now this consciousness has changed, and I may be misunderstood when people say that we are a small business, we talk big about technology. Let me tell you, this godlike technology has the capacity of making the poorest into the richest.
True that.
The point is that you got to use technology. That's godlike technology, because institutions are still medieval and mindset is still Paleolithic, and it will remain, because 96% of our DNA is derived from evolution. It's only the prefrontal cortex, which is just about 4% of it, which is actually what we call the right part of the brain, creativity and thinking process. So we got to utilize this bit which we have not used. So we can control the driverless car by determining the destination of the car, not necessarily controlling the steering. So as long as I know where technology will take me to. An important aspect would be, of course, energy, which is renewable sources of energy. But the most important aspect still remains the material, the construction material. Wood, because today the buildings were so far the most polluting, in fact, entities. In a sense that from the material that they produced, it was exploitative and extractive. Now you got to move to a methodology which creates regeneration and restoration. So restorative and regenerative capacity we have to build. That's about the material that we use. So we also forget that 3D printing has come to play. And this is going to be the biggest revolution in the construction world. And you will be kind of, capable of doing it at an individual retail level. It's not the big industries that necessarily will be the ones who will be able to do it.
It means you are disrupting my business. Don't make our audience afraid.
Unfortunately, yes.
Please see where we have the chance. Then when we are going down, oh my God, the
you got
3D printer is going to print my
yes,
window.
This disruption is for real. And what is going to happen? It's going to use a very different material, which will again cater to restorative and regenerative capacity that we'll have to build. It cannot be based on minerals that are extracted and the minerals of which they are exploited in the sense for polluting the atmosphere more. Mm-hmm. So that is it. Business models also will have to change them. So your product, your ways of doing things, your business model also, you will not necessarily get money by selling the product that you used to sell or service. You got to modify, adapt, upgrade in terms of the new age technology, in terms of what I call the new consciousness, which is derived from out of this third and the fourth industrial revolution. So I think that is the crux of the problem right now. And I think in whichever industry, as Amit said, you are, the domain is not important. The point is that technology and market turbulence is disturbing everybody equally. Now, as he said, the smarter leaders would be the ones who will actually take the right step first, pioneers, and therefore, in the world of possibility today, technology is opened up. It's bad or good or whatever it is. The point is that it has opened up a world of possibility for us, unlike the world of probability of only knowns happening. Now, unknowns are in fact a possibility. Anything can happen. But the good aspect is that if anything can happen, nothing is impossible too. We have had, as Amit said, a lot of billionaires in the old system model, which was centralized, top-down, vertically integrated. Now we have to subscribe to a system which will be more laterally. It will be the sharing economy, not the consumption and production alone.
So much. Videsh, how my mind can take this? How I can stay focused? How can I evaluate? where is my steering of the driverless car to hand it over to the car, and where is my direction where my car without driver on the steering is going to go. How do I keep my mind focused? Learning, and knowledge. And knowledge is what I always tell to my teams. Please, what is there inside me to be focused?
So, Mario, just let me share with you, I mean, when Rajeev was sharing about technology, one of my principles is only in adverse times do you find opportunities.
Absolutely.
Okay. And let me just explain this to you. When we were talking about technology, the world has shrunk because of technology. Everything is accessible to us. One of the principles was this, that, and the opportunity that came to me was, I need to, if I have to survive and thrive, I need to upgrade myself. And this upgradation is possible because there were a lot of universities, and a lot of learning institutions which were offering only residential programs in the US, which I wanted to attend. And sheerly because of one, expense, let's be honest, and the travel time, I couldn't complete that, or I couldn't take those workshops. What has happened is, because of this technology disruption, institutions have started actually asking us whether we want to. I'm attending a lot of workshops. I'm making the most of it at half the cost.
And the MOOC courses, which are coming free virtually.
Yes. For example, if I'm talking about, be it somatic coaching, the kind of work that we do. So one of the learnings for me is this, that in adverse times, we have to keep ourselves and we have to find opportunities for ourselves. Okay. A newer opportunity for me is, one, we have to relearn. Okay. We have to unlearn, we need to relearn. Yeah, that's a mental setup.
I think unlearn would be a more important word today than relearn.
Unlearn, relearn. Yeah.
You want to say I have to format my system? Really?
Yes. I need to reformat it.
Yeah, to our audience, are we ready? Are we ready really to scrap it, to reformat? Because we know I have a system, and my system is, I think, the oldest anyone can have. And the day will come when it will keep on hanging, and then you go for the 5th time to the shop, and then he will say, okay, either you buy a new one or you make really the reformatting. Yep. And now we are saying, when I bang 20 times the wall and I don't find really the way forward, so it means, but it's a very, very harsh word, reformatting. Can't we find it something more, but lighter? I have to balance, I have to retune myself. Yes, and at times we have to make a step. I took the step 14.5 years back. I came from Germany. I came from Germany to India. Everything was super cool over there, but I thought something is missing. And whatever was missing, I found actually here. And this was also a kind of a reformatting what I have done. Amit, what is your opinion?
Just trying to write this together to make life simpler for your question to be answered. Let's say fast forward 3 years from now. Okay, this pandemic is over, whenever. Life is back. I'm not saying to normal, to new normal, whatever, that doesn't matter. Now, as a business, whether it's a window business or any other business, I only plead to the industry that please build a profitable and sustainable business. That's step number 1. If you're not profitable, finish it today rather than trying to be in a debt tomorrow, and then your family will suffer. First, build a profitable, sustainable business. I think, being me, I'm one of the most undisciplined guy ever born on this planet. I'm a late riser. I sleep very late. But this corona, even if whatever time that I do wake up, I've become so disciplined that those Google Meets and Zooms and blah blahs of the world, if it's 12:00, I'm at 11:59.
Correct.
Now that helped me gain a lot of discipline, not only to me, to the 250, 300 people that I hire as well. That discipline that we have learned today, thanks to these Google Meets of the world, please follow that discipline, which means go to your customer on time, call your customer on time, collect your money on time, sell the quality that you promised. So again, coming back to the point, Mario, what you're doing is great. Keep it profitable, keep it sustainable. Now comes another crisis tomorrow. Let's say it could be anything. Let's not.
There'll be many. There'll be many now.
Let's not say why, where. But if you build a sustainable, profitable business, you will have some corpuses of money, and you will, very important to have mentored your people during the time today and during the next 3 years, is to keep the warning sign always up that there could be something going wrong. So I'm trying to be careful, irrespective of what it could be. Let's not unnecessarily waste our time talking about it. Having said that, you should always have safety and security of your manpower, because end of the day, it's the people that us, our companies, our businesses, your customers, if they do well, we do well. And their mental sanity is very important. So that is something where constant mentoring of our people is very, very critical. Going forward, and you said unlearn, I think to add to the point, I think today with running a business of 14 years today and 20 years here and more, we have so much data that we have to basically process that data and then analyze that data. It sounds very difficult, but simple बात में ये है कि अगर आपके पास business है, अपनी Excel sheet में निकालिए आपके customer कौन थे, देखिए कहाँ से कब किसने 10 साल पहले खरीदा था. If somebody bought 10 years ago, he's ready to buy again. But if you don't analyze that data, you're sitting with the low-hanging fruit. You're not even looking at your data. Yeah. Analyze that data, process that data. In simple words, study it. Pick up the phone, call up your customer. I'm back.
Brilliant.
I sold you 10 years ago, and that's it. There's nothing else to be done. That's what I've done 20 years of my life. I have data from 98. So I think that has been a good thing. We took it all out, mashed it all together, and built all our businesses from that. And that's all there is to it. So I think in simple words, like we did before, pick up the phone, like they used to say in this movie, The Wolf of Wall Street. Pick up the phone, call the customer. That's it. Simple job.
You know what So there's a leaf that I can take out from what Amit you just shared was, and a learning is go back to basics.
Yeah, go back to basics.
Okay. Be it the technology, be it any, just keep this question in front of you, that how are you going to keep your pipeline full? And in the sales parlance, your pipeline matters. Yeah.
Totally.
So have your prospect base. If you have enough prospects, business will come. Yeah, focus on how are you going to get more prospects.
I want to add one point, adding to this point of digitization and analysis, that businesses are as simple as they can be, are as complex as you want them to be. It's all upon your mindset.
Yeah.
So when all this technology hit, I remember in 2008, I invested 60 lakhs to buy Microsoft Navision, which is our ERP, the epicenter of our entire group business. And the guy from Microsoft said, are you sure you want to spend 60 lakhs? Your turnover is hardly 30 crores. I said, A, that's none of your business what my turnover is. B, what I want to spend is what I want to spend. That's again none of your business. But having said that, it's a valid point. He said, it's 2% of your current turnover is what you're spending. I said, when I used to go to Germany to meet people that I work with, they use something called SAP.
Right.
Way back, I'm talking 2006, then I started to. And I said, what does this do? You produce X, you sell from Y, and the bill comes from Singapore. How is this happening? He said, this is the way the world will work in the future. So I guess I adapted to that change. And I think our building industry has to adopt to a lot of change when it comes to tech. So labor, not scarcity will be a problem, but skill will be a problem. And then speed of work, RERA, regulation. I think the industry has to wake up कि भैया, modern technology does not mean you become modern and you wear a tie. It's just using of modern methods and utilizing labor, which will become a more scarce aspect, and putting it together. That's all. Again, it's all about. It's
actually because what you talked about reformatting. Now we have to format or reformat, both the aspects of it. We got to keep in mind what is transformation. So we got to be prepared for this challenge by keeping a mind which is adaptive and agile, which means, nimble-footed. You are able to adapt, upgrade, modify with speed and agility. And ultimately, you got to take those audacious decisions. You got to develop that, as Amit said, you got to be in the right. I
think it's more to do with just taking decisions.
People
don't take decisions. That's the largest part of the problem. Take the decision.
You got to take the decisions. So in the world of possibility, you got to kind of, just go step by step, think, iterate, be ready to change, and give up that's not working and what's working in the sense, and make it viable.
Videsh, coming back to the formatting, when I'm format, then I should know what, which is very important. We had last Saturday with the perfect event between unconscious, unskilled, and unconsciously skilled. As long as I don't know what I don't know, I don't even know what to format. And very important, learn. Take out few minutes, half an hour, 1 hour in the evening. Don't play Ludo. Use whatever is there. What also Mr. Rajeev is always saying, knowledge was never so free like in these days.
Correct.
Compared to our fathers or elders, they didn't have an internet, they didn't have the YouTube, they didn't have any channels. They had to go to a library, and when there was only one book, then they could learn only this. Get connected and utilize your time. Time is the biggest gift We can't lose it at all. But how to find the right time and to format the right things.
Okay, so like I was sharing was, for me to find out what is that coping mechanism and what do I upgrade on, I started speaking with people. I started speaking with my community of practitioners because all of us were going through the same, through the same turmoil. And I was trying to figure out what is working for them, what is working for me. And I started talking to my clients. So the first thing is this, that start sensing around what's happening in the marketplace. Yeah. Point number 2, don't take it as literally as a epithet. Experiment yourself. So I started speaking with clients. I did some workshops. I felt it didn't work. The market was looking for something different. I was looking for something different. Yeah. So we weren't gelling well. Okay. And there was a lot of work in the domain specific area. My work was more to do with behavioral. My work was more to do with change. Organizations weren't looking at it. Yeah. So I said okay, how do I blend domain as well as behavior together? Because that's the only way for me to get in the business. Yeah. So I had to adapt. The upgradation was this, that my iOS was at 14.1. The market's iOS was at 14.4. Yeah. So I had to actually upgrade myself 3 steps up. Yeah. Because I had forgotten or I had lost the knack of doing sales or domain skills 3 years back or 4 years back. So I had to reinvent and refresh myself. Yeah. And then find out ways of blending both, which is behavior as well as domain together to be in the market. And then create a pitch as to how am I going to bring create a unique selling proposition to the customer. How am I different? Because again, what was happening was volume versus value. This was the competition in the market. Yeah. And so how do I create my own value? Yeah.
So Videsh, thank you so much. Yeah. I think we are almost exhausting our time. Last round, learning for me is again, learning and knowledge is about enhancing and adopting of technology. Utilize your data. During the pandemic, we had a lot of seminars, webinars also with the German community where we are talked about find your secret silent treasure. And what Amit rightly said, your data is your treasure. And as longer you are in the business, as larger is your treasure. Analyze who was your customer, why you have lost all these orders. Analyze not the orders which you got, analyze actually what you lost the order and was the price really all the time the main criteria? Or the second person that just did a better job? And from the mindset, be honest to yourself, be always straight, and then the formatting has to happen as formatting. We are just making an update. Bring the format to the update, but updating with the right knowledge we have to do all the time. Last round, Amit, starting with you.
So I'll try to put 2 or 3 things together here. When we were born with this thing called I don't know anything. Our children are born with I know everything. Total differentiator. But today even we know many things, we still don't know many things. So what is it that we've discussed in the last 1 hour of this discussion is about unlearning. Unlearning is nothing but trying to basically what you know, delete that, refresh and learn again from scratch. And Google can teach you as well. An academy, Vastu, Vedantu, everything. The building industry, I would not give a percentage because unfair, but let's say PVC for example, 50% of profile was being imported from China. Let's put it a number at 1,000 crores worth of material is coming. There are Indian manufacturers here who have the capability, production as well as technology to be able to produce that shortage of material. Now, becoming optimistic about the future. Okay, let's forget about growth and let's forget about new numbers. Let's talk about the old pre-COVID number. Even if we are able to cater to the demand from India, the profile sellers and the further sellers of windows, we have 2 times the amount of business which is available before COVID to be produced out of India. Substandard is also a relative word. So if that will happen, I already see it in a few sectors, then there is Atmanirbharta coming up, people, small scale, middle scale, larger companies putting more investments, like you see in Samsung's and the mobile phones. I think about $10 billion of investment is coming.
Of the whole industry.
So, forget all the other digitization bullshit. The reality, if the Indian manufacturing can start to manufacture what is being imported, the industry will grow 5 times over in the next 5 years. So that's the only thing, that is my take. I'll put my entire money on India. I'm already putting enough to build more plants, more manufacturing setups, and more digital revolution to take it forward. So it's going to be great. So everybody should just be positive. Two more points that I want to add. Be very time managed, be efficient. I was telling our friends earlier that in McCoy, in our group, with me, if you want to have a meeting, 3 minutes is the maximum time frame. If you've not been able to tell me what you want, then either I don't have the right person working for me, in simple words. And our group in the team meetings cannot exceed 30 minutes. It's an auto shutdown. Please, आप जहाँ पे हैं अपने time को manage करना सीखिए ताकि you can do more, create more opportunities and be able to execute them more, and be disciplined about it. You are disciplined as a leader. Your people will have no other choice not to be disciplined. Yeah, Mario.
Confirmed. I always say, as more you talk, as more you are wrong. When my team is standing, a normal problem, day-to-day problem, should be described in a single sentence. And as more you talk, something is fishy. Therefore, be conscious, be straight, and be forward on this. Rajeev, please, your last statement.
Yeah, I think the biggest asset for businesses as well as people working in those businesses is that capacity to learn, unlearn, and relearn. Now, when I say you learn, you grow as an individual, as an organization, and it is in a way transforming yourself, your organization as well. So what is transformation? We got to understand. Transformation would mean that it's a conscious effort and it's an irreversible measure. That means it goes to a higher level of performance, and as what Amit says, once you have reached that level, don't let it come down, fall down. Be it time management, be it skill management, be it kind of, competency, growth, and kind of, any method or business processes, you got to keep it that standard. So it's irreversible and conscious. So we got to, first of all, think that we got to transform. That's point number one. And when this kind of metamorphosis takes place, you are now at a different orbital plane, so that, you don't relate yourself to where you were earlier because you've gone far too up. That's one aspiration that you need to keep. The point is that it will also impact your organization health, which means financially and operationally. It will become more effective, not necessarily more efficient. So speed, effectiveness, and probity, all will have to be there in businesses today. Then, of course, your business performance must go up through this transformation, because you use technology, you change the material you use, you change your building construct, you kind of, make it more, give it longevity of sustainability, in the sense that the buildings of the future will have to be retrofitted. So we got to keep that mindset. We got to prepare for not just in time only, but just in case. Now that's a big leap. We were ready that, we can do it in this much time, this will happen now and now. It doesn't happen because COVID, everything was thrown up out of, management process.
I just want to add one point, Rajeev, to what you're saying, that 10 years ago, when you would look at guys from risk analysis team from EY and Deloitte and KPMG, and you say, what the hell do you guys do?
Yeah.
And today they're like laughing. Yeah. Like, dude, we told you to do all of this.
Yeah, because they said that, that unpredictability is something you want to manage as a risk. But the point is that we would always take just in time it will happen. Yes. If it doesn't happen, are you prepared for just in case? Because say, for example, we all came across Corona. We did not know what to do. So we did not know what we did not know, because we were not having any idea of there would be a Corona. So the point is that, so we were in fact unconsciously incapable. Of course, incapable to handle it, and also unconscious of it happening. But now that it happens, at least now we become conscious of the fact that it's happened. Now, how do we tackle is still not known to us. So we don't know exactly how to handle it. But at least we know that we got to handle this Corona. So we will, in fact, sustained efforts if we make, we will be able to handle Corona, so that we become experts and also conscious of the fact that there's Corona, and I'll be Rajeev, expert enough to handle it. Just let me complete it. You'll be an expert enough to complete it. But now, when you are also conscious and you're an expert, there'll be some other crisis that's going to come. But at least as far as Corona is concerned, you will be unconsciously able to handle it. that Corona is not a problem. I can be unconscious, I can be doing so many things, and I know how to handle Corona. Yes. But now I know how to handle Corona from a situation where I was not even aware, forget about my capability to handle. That is growth. So I would say today, in just one word, the important thing is that we got to be mindful of the context in which we are, the consciousness that it requires, the kind of principles that will work and what will not work. Corona or no Corona. Corona is just an event. The larger changes that have taken place in the context of technology, in the context of business, in the context of societal norms. Because earlier we were prized for maintaining norms. Now we got to all the time question those unproductive norms. My duty as a leader of business would be to kind of every time question the unproductive norms which were not working anymore. I was doing well, I did it, I was knowing everything, but only I was downloading what I know. Now I got to kind of move to a very different system of validating something I did not know, but that which is going to prove, as Amit said, in future, that yes, going by the trends, going by some kind of heuristics, you are redefining the very algorithm to think. You are redefining the algorithm of life.
Break the Berlin Wall every day.
Yes.
Break the Berlin Wall every day.
So it was a one-time event in 19...
Yeah, it may be difficult, but I think there is. I mean, who said that life was easy?
Right. Videsh, last speech to you.
Yeah, and I'm not going to take much time. I just remember one thing, and this was... I remember that this is from a cover of the book. Okay, there are two books which I would just like you to. I'm going to share just the names. Okay, What Got You Here Will Not Take You There.
Yep.
Marshall Goldsmith. Okay. The other part that I remember is change your life, change your questions, change your life.
Yeah.
Okay, which means that have a progressive mindset. Application wise, ask this question: how am I going to be successful? How am I going to reach to what I want to reach, or where I want to reach? Okay. Just ask this question of being how. It's a progressive question. Yeah. Instead of asking why things will not happen. And this how is a growth mindset question.
Right. In fact, it's like, don't forget, waste your time doing what is right and wrong.
Correct.
But understand that there's always a right way to do it and a better way to do it. And that's how we improve.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Amit.
The consumer behavior has changed in this country and pretty much all over the world. And I think when we talk about data and analysis and all of that, you still have to call your customer. You still have to be in touch.
Correct.
Either you do it through a digital platform or you do it on the phone or whatever it may be through WhatsApp. But consumer behavior has changed. And I think more and more people will reach the same customer tomorrow than today. So you must not just believe as a seller of a product or a manufacturer of a product that you have a salesman who's calling the customer. That is good enough. No more. You'll have to use all the different tools, digital tools, virtual tools, and also the human interactive tool. Because today the largest companies in this world are surviving on selling marketing ads. Facebook, Google being the classic example. They are the largest beta unicorns or whatever you call them. So having said that, marketing is going to be the way forward in future. So if you want to survive and sustain your business, please emphasize if you have a good product, let everybody know, not only by a physical ATL, BTL as we call it, digitization, and that's what Rajeev also emphasized a lot on. Use technology to let the customer know that you are there for 10, 15, 20 years and you've done a good job, and talk about it. Because customer is so much now, so much information is going to consumer. His behavior is changing कि जो दिखता है वो बिकता है. Actually जो पहले बोलते थे, जो दिखता है वो बिकता है. What's visible sells. So please focus on building brands. That's the net of what I want to say.
Right.
Thank you so much, Amit. Thank you so much.
I'll really like to have one last word.
Please.
On certain things.
Can we make one more?
I
Sure.
missed
Please,
out
please.
one point
Yes.
actually. And that's very relevant for the construction and building material industry in its course of time. Now the good news for this industry is that, the whole infrastructure will now have to adapt, upgrade, modify and change to the third and the fourth industrial revolution. So the good news is that in the world of possibility, the material industry, the construction industry, still, till such time they build this new infrastructure to kind of, be guided by the new technology, by the new market conditions, by the new consciousness that we have developed in the whole, context of third and the fourth industrial revolution. Our consciousness has changed. The industrial mindset was geostrategic. and the commercial mindset that there is competition. But now you move from competition to collaboration using technology. You can always increase the size of your cake. Don't be unduly perturbed by the competition or getting a larger size of the pie of the cake. Try to increase the size of the cake by godlike technology being used, or else create another cake of your own. This is the advantage of being in the world of possibility.
Absolutely.
So you got to change this consciousness and this interrelated, hyper-connected world from the earlier geostrategic to the new biospheric consciousness, which means there'll be linkages of whatever you do. Don't be perturbed. Don't be afraid to learn new things. Like you've managed to manage Corona, we can kind of, manage Corona with ease, and we'll spare our bandwidth to manage something bigger than Corona that will come in future.
Don't be afraid and always learn. And I hope I have not promised too much, my dear WFM community. An amazing panel. Amit, thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Rajeev, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Videsh, really, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mario.
Just in case, you really liked it, please follow us. Follow WFM Community and follow our next show, which is, of course, shortly going to come. For today, I say thank you once again to all my panelists.
Thank you, Mario.
Thank you,
to all
Mario.
of you that you have spent the
Thank
you.
time watching it. I hope it was worth, and there is no easy solution for a complex topic. Today we again didn't say wear no white shirt, wear a blue shirt, and then your business will be double. No. Business wasn't easy before.
Yep.
Pandemic. Business isn't
Not
easy now. There was a lot of opportunities before, and what we have just discovered today, there are so many opportunities now, but you have to see them, evaluate them wisely, and then go in the right direction. I would be really happy if some comments are coming, some questions, some feedbacks. Thank you so much for today. Have a nice day. Namaste.